think we can start. Yeah, there we are.
I
Yeah,
hit the button.
Yeah, don't push the button. Yeah, let's see how fast YouTube is. Hmm.
I see. So you're gonna beat me up with that? That's got sharp edges. I took away his little area to hide today. I hope he's okay with it. He's just kind of hanging out next to me here. But Lorelai's being a pest, of course, trying to get to him.
Yeah, that's what she does.
She's upset with me now because I dug her out of there and tossed her over to. She actually had to fly a bit because I tossed her. But, how dare you toss me? I'm just trying to hang out with KK. Yeah, right. Problem.
I would love
Problem
to
causing.
KK.
Yeah. I don't know what her deal is. She's been better with him lately, but you gotta watch her because I get Cecil all ticked off. Get off my shoulder. Thank you. It's fine for you to be on my shoulder, but not when I have these ear things in. When I take one out later, you get on my shoulder. Whack me with the darn things. Hmm? Cecil, yeah. Cecil Hyde, is that who you are? Cecil Hyde?
Does everyone runs
Cecil
and
Hyde.
hides?
Yes, everyone runs and hides, and he's taken his snake oil and become a little monster. Yeah, a good monster. You're a good monster. Not like those other snake oil salesmen who try to sell you things that don't work on your birds. Well, they might. Some of the things they sell you might actually kill your birds. So
Our first chatter is here. It's Nancy Rudy. So hello. She's greeting everybody.
Hello.
Hi, Nancy. Hi, Nancy. That was my sister's name. And although she didn't have any birds, she was definitely a bird person. I was going to take her to the San Diego Zoo one time, and I'd never been there with her. She goes, "Well, you like birds, right?" And I said, "Well, yeah, I like birds." She goes, "Well, you better really like them because they won't leave us alone." She wasn't kidding. We had peacocks on each side of us. There were birds landing on her shoulder. We were just covered in birds the whole time we were there. She was in a wheelchair at the time, but I mean, everywhere we went, there were just birds all over us.
That sounds great.
I was looking for maybe. Would you stop? Okay, you can go over here if you want. Go ahead.
So welcome to Falcon Zoo, who greets chatters, mods, dawn, and hooligans.
Hello.
Look at all these hooligans.
Hello. Hello,
they all
Falcon Zoo. There she is.
Hooligan, all right.
The minx. Hi, minx. Hello, Lorelai. Oh, you're gonna eat my shirt now? Is that what you're gonna do? Huh? Did you give up on trying? I don't think you gave up on trying to get to KK. Yeah. But there's Cecil. Yeah, today we're going to talk about snake oil salesmen, and they're all over the internet. Even some vets try to sell you some snake oil. I had a doctor at the VA try to tell me to use an over-the-counter product for an issue I have. I looked at him and I said, I can get that off the internet. I don't need to get it from a doctor. I just said, no, you'll have to prescribe me something for it because I'm not buying some over-the-counter supplement that there's no proof does anything. Well, that doesn't mean that some supplements might actually work. They might actually work. The problem is nobody is going to do the studies to prove it because there's no money in it. So things like cayenne pepper work. Even the FDA they have papers on it saying it works, but as far as a circulatory stimulant, but Um, it's also good. The extract, the payson, is good for things like pain. Kind of, yeah, causes like a heat in your body when you put it on, but because the stuff is hot.
Mm-hmm.
Well, we're going to talk about those snake oil salesmen. I got this bottle of stuff here. I guarantee, I mean, I totally guarantee, sort of, that this is going to work on your bird. You don't have to talk to your avian vet. You just trust me.
Trust me, bro.
My dad, I can't say what he said, but he had a different definition of trust me. So basically means that uh, you're being ripped off. So
Mm-hmm. So let's
what do
welcome
you?
a couple of more chatters. Let's say hi to Jem and Jamie who joined us. So hello.
Hello.
And then
Hello.
we have Lisa Banerjee here, who greets everybody. So hello back.
Hello.
Hello.
Come on, Cecil. Surprise everybody. Say hello. No surprises
So
today.
Nancy Rudy
Hello.
writes, shirts are good. So not sure if she's referring to Don's shirt or shirts in general, or I haven't got it. Sorry,
I think
completely.
I think she's pretending to be Lorelei because Lorelei is saying shirts are good.
Oh, that's it. Thanks, Alan. Yeah, that's probably what's going on in Lorelai's mind. She loves shirts and shoes and buttons.
Right now, she's positioning herself to try to get to KK. KK's
Oh,
over here,
mhm.
and she's trying to get there, and I'm keeping an eye on her because she'll all of a sudden sneak around when I'm not paying attention.
Mm-hmm.
She knows at some point I'll be not paying attention. So, right, Lorelai? Causes all kind of problems when you do that, girl. We're going to have the screen get small when I switch over to my notes, but I want to make sure I don't leave anything out. So, the problem with these snake oil salesmen is when you, I got to tell this story though, years ago, a long time ago, back when the world was in a Cretaceous period, I think it was. Um, I was working as a manager in a wholesale plumbing house, and there's a company that actually, if you have your drains cleaned, they use a thing called a mechanical snake, right? The snake machine. But they have these snakes, these flexible device that goes into your drains, and you're supposed to lubricate them. And what they sell to lubricate them, one company called it snake oil. So whenever I saw this salesman, I'd go, here's the snake oil salesman. Um, Not sure he appreciated that, but that's my sense of humor. And he was. He was actually a snake oil salesman.
So
But the
let's all
product,
say congratulations to Lisa Banerjee, who has today something to celebrate because she got Rico August 12th in 1991, which is now 33 years. Wow, that's a long
wow,
time.
Mm, that's a
that's a
long
long
time.
time.
Congratulations from the whole flock.
That's
That's
amazing.
a that's about 5 times longer than most marriages last in the U.S.
Hmm.
What? It's older than me.
Oh my, Rico.
Keep a leash on their kid. Yeah, I'm reminded of that scene in Sweeney Todd where the kid comes out and he's selling this hair oil that you're supposed to put on your hair if or if you're going bald to put it on to grow the hair back in. Sweeney Todd comes up and he starts describing it as something else, and But that's pretty much what we have. So much of that today. I want to discuss it because I want to try to get people to find ways to prove whether or not these things that are being offered are correct or not. And there's issues with veterinarians too. So, an avian veterinarian is where you want to go, but there are some things to know about that too. And sometimes you have to get a second opinion, but we'll discuss all that. That's why I have my notes so I won't forget things, right? Betsy's on. Keep an eye on your mate. She's being weird. Actually, not weird. She's being Lorelei. She's always been a little strange. She had me suckered the first few weeks I had her, but I don't think you want to walk on her neck. No, it's probably not a good idea. We have Lucy with us today, Snowball, and Jasmine over there sleeping.
Mm-hmm.
As
And
usual.
Sugar relaxing. Yeah, Sugar relaxing. And KK, Cecil Bird, and Laura.
We're all good birds except for Lorelei.
She's just a minx. She's just a minx, aren't you? Yeah, the topic today is to watch out for a snake oil salesman trying to sell you things that will cure your bird. Let's see if I can get to my notes. I had to do some extensive research on this one just to make sure come on, it's not that difficult to get there. Open, please. Notes. Yeah, the first thing to watch out for is anyone who promises, miraculous results. Spray this on your bird and your bird won't pluck anymore. Put this in your bird's food and your bird won't pluck anymore. That kind of thing. And anyone who's had plucking birds knows these things don't work. It may take you a while to realize it because when you spend the money on something, you want it to work. Which is one reason why when they try to adopt out birds and they just give them the bird, it doesn't usually work. But if you make them do an adoption fee, then there's a lot better chance that they'll try to work through issues. Right, guys? So before you call your avian vet, and that's what you want to do, and we'll talk about if you don't have one, what you can do there too, but you want to do a little initial research on the web. Right, KK? So I found that if you're searching for articles on a certain subject, add DVM to it. If you want to get in the right mindset too, you can listen to a podcast called The Skeptic's Guide of the Universe, which is led by Dr. Novella, Stephen Novella. He's a clinical neurologist. He's a bright guy. It's entertaining in a way, but it's not meant to be just a fun show. They actually talk about things that are being presented that are wrong and why they're wrong. So it gets you in the right attitude when you see something like, wow, this thing says it can do all this. It's got this big loop and it produces this magnetic field. And if you pass your bird through it, it's all of a sudden going to cure things. If it sounds miraculous, it's probably not. It's probably just a good way to make money. And those kind of things, the magnetic, the tools of magnetism, that goes way back to the 20s when they were peddling that stuff. And they're still peddling it. And that particular device I'm talking about, Dr. Novella went through. He had a nice long article on he has a medical blog where he was talking about there is no evidence to show this thing does anything. So, why would you spend money to have your bird pass through this thing if there's no evidence? And they tried to use it on humans too. So, yeah.
Yeah, that's the thing. There is a lot of bullshit for sale. I just saw something for humans where someone tries to hear the chakras of people, and they measure it now digitally. So you have to put your finger on something, and then the computer measures it. And this machine costs about I think 1,000 euros or so, and there's basically, I guess, nothing else inside than some kind of sensor, warmth sensor or something like that, but nothing else. Maybe also a little electrical sensor, but that's all super cheap, and you can buy it, and it has nothing medical in it, so that's the problem. I know a lot of people are believing in such stuff, but the thing is, there are really criminal people often behind it to just make a lot of money and lying to you. And the thing is, when it's done to human, it's one thing. When it's done with animals, so this concerns us, especially when you see how much money a parrot costs, and you can spend this in so much better things like really good food from a good brand and fresh vegetable and stuff, or actually going to a real avian vet, paying the gasoline for the longer drive you have instead of such a thing.
Mm. And one thing to bear in mind as well is with humans, we have something called a placebo effect. So even if you buy something that's nonsense, if you believe in it, then it can still work just because of the power of belief. But obviously, that doesn't work for animals because they have no idea what it's supposed to do. So they don't even get that benefit.
Yeah, it can also work on us, even though the animal it's not the animal that's getting the placebo effect, it's the human. A good example is these products you're supposed to spray on birds to stop them from plucking. And the key here is that water, if sprayed on a bird, will keep them from plucking. Most birds will not pluck while they're wet. Once they dry out, they pluck. Okay, they go back to it. So when you buy these products that you spray on, it's like, wow, they aren't plucking. Yeah, try spraying water on, you'll get the same effect, because essentially that's what you're doing. One of the major products that's sold that way, um, if you read the ingredients, it says it's homeopathic. Well, homeopathy has been disproven so many times. I don't know why they've done so many studies on it. It only takes once. Let me see my notes on that so I'm kind of jumping ahead. Uh, okay. It's based on the idea that extremely diluted substances can cure ailments. So basically, if you have a substance that would cause you to get a stomach ache and make you really sick, then what they do is they take that and they dilute it and dilute it and dilute it. And scientifically, there's none of it left in the water. But somehow it's supposed to have this magic power because it had this poison in it, okay, that was reduced and reduced and reduced, and it doesn't work. We've tested it. We've even done gas spectrometry. Spectrometry. I can't say the word now. It's a process where you basically you get something super hot and then you run it through and you look at the spectrum and you can tell what's in it. So there's none of this in there, none at all. So when you see any product that says homeopathic, you're just throwing your money down the drain. And we have the scientific studies, many of them, to prove that. And you'll see a ton of this stuff on the shelf for humans and for you guys. Hey. Calm down there. Calm down. Diesel, calm it down. You big nut. I need it. Just calm down. What? What? Lorelei, you big pest. Cecil. So they'll label it as a natural cure, and there are some that say that they relieve anxiety in the parrot. No, they don't. Um, there are psychotherapeutic drugs you can give if you have a bird that's got a lot of anxiety or it has uh, issues that you can't seem to deal with using ABA. But as far as this over-the-counter stuff, it doesn't do anything. So the first thing you want to do is check it out on the web and you research, right? With research. You can look on the web, not on Facebook and not on Twitter and not on Instagram. No, you want to look, just do a search on the web and add DVM. If you got Chat GPT, you'll get a better answer there than you will searching the web. But if you add DVM, you're adding doctor of veterinary medicine. So if you're looking for things, you'll find articles written by avian specialists, and that's what you want to look first. And I say that because you don't want to keep calling your avian vet every 10 minutes. So you can look on there first, and then if you think, well, maybe this would work, then you can call your avian vet, or if they let you text them, you can text them or email them and ask them a question. If you don't have an avian vet, there isn't one in your area, you can make a relationship with one in a different state, or you can call them on emergencies or text them, and they charge you for the phone call, or they charge you by text or whatever. They got to make some money, or they're not going to be answering your emails or texts, and that's fair. But what are you doing there, KK? So you do a little research on yourself. Somebody on the internet says something, you can just, if it sounds plausible, you can look into it, but don't just accept what people say on the internet. And that includes me. I mean, I'm not a veterinarian, so I have veterinary manuals. I've done a lot of study, but I'm definitely not a veterinarian. No, don't you dare. Don't you dare. No. You can go down there if you want. Don't you dare. Mace, Lorelei. Okay, just ignore her.
When the bird have caused a natural interruption, I forgot where I stopped greeting chatters. So let's see. I'm not sure have I greeted Jocelyn Trickle. If not, I'm sorry. So here is your greet. Hello, Jocelyn Trickle. She has
Hello.
written in chat that she found out that Cinnamon there's a 90% chance that Cinnamon is actually a female. That will be funny to find out. Then E. Schwartz has joined us. So
Hello.
welcome, E. Schwartz. And
Hello.
then Carmen Thurston is here. So hello.
Hello.
Good to have
Hello.
you guys.
The test
Everybody.
for bird sucks is not expensive, so it's either a drop of blood that you can get from a nail or a feather. The blood test is better. Check with your avian vet if they do it for a reasonable price. Most of them do for about $40. If you do it yourself, it's about $20. But you got to know where you got to know you're sending it to a good place. And I haven't done that in a while, and I'm not sure. I'd have to look up the name of a good clinic or a good testing site that does bird sex.
But the thing is that happens more often than one thinks with birds, right, Cecilia? That's because
Yep.
Cecil came as Cecilia to us to like they were saying, oh, we want to get rid of Cecilia, or back then she had no, or he not even had a name. He was just a breeder bird, was paired up with another male, and they were like, oh no, this bird is not laying eggs. Yeah, that's because Cecil is male.
Yeah,
He
it's
certainly
a
is.
common problem with birds.
I think with other birds were like Corsi, whose name is Cosmo, and she wants to keep it. They thought Corsi is also oh no, they thought it's male, and actually she's female. I think she laid a surprise egg for Don, so he knew after that. No DNA test necessary.
No,
Yeah, you
I
can't
think
tell if
that's
you've been
different.
around for a while, but right, Cecil? Right, Cecil?
But that's the thing, they can fool us humans terribly since we have no senses actually which tell us what is male and what is female. So for us it's just like a bunch of birds with feathers and we don't really have any sense, not seeing, hearing or anything to distinguish them.
And sometimes they trick us because KK likes to vibrate randomly sometimes,
Yeah.
which is a little weird.
Thanks. Lola, baby girl. Yeah, so you need to look at anything you're considering. How long has it been around? Is it recommended by avian veterinarians? In fact, I was talking to Dr. Jenkins once, and I mentioned that I use superclot, which is instead of quick stop. I use them both. Depends on the situation. If something dry will work better than something wet, I will use the nail. Sometimes I'll use the quick stop. But when I mentioned it, he says, "Well, I wouldn't use anything that hasn't been tested by an avian veterinarian." I said, "Well, Dr. Burkett in Virginia recommended it." He goes, "Oh, okay. Well, then it works." Um, so again, I had an avian veterinarian recommend it. It just wasn't the one I was talking to at the time. And he had reservations because he hadn't used it. It definitely does work on these guys. But so how long it's been out there, check with the avian veterinarian. That's the final step. When you've gone through everything else and you've looked and said, this might work, then talk to the avian veterinarian and just confirm it. Yeah, when you're talking to an avian vet, how long have they been an avian vet? Okay, if they've been an avian vet, they just got out of school, they're not going to be, probably, not going to be as good as someone who's been around for 30 years. So if you're putting your trust in someone who's only just gotten out of school and hasn't had practice, that's like somebody who's been a tennis, just learned how to play tennis, and now they're going to go to Wimbledon and they're going to win, they're going to win the big prize, right? No, it's not going to happen. They're going to make mistakes because that's how you learn. They only have the school knowledge. Most avian vets coming out of school today aren't probably going to know about Haldol. It's not in the curriculum. I know that because I've talked to Dr. Jenkins. He's trying to get it in there, and they won't do it, even though we have the backing, the science to prove it works. Not just looking around at the birds in here, but we have the science behind it that says it works. So we know why it works. We know how it works. So again, choose an avian vet who's got the experience. Don't have one in your area. Make a phone relationship. Call up someone like Dr. Jenkins or Dr. Nimitz in Los Angeles. And what they can do is if you have a local vet, at least an exotic vet, sometimes you can't get anybody who is an avian vet. So you have to find a vet locally that can do the blood work. And then you can send the blood work to the avian vet and they can check it out. So that way you get a relationship between a local vet. What are you doing down there, little pest? Between a local vet and someone who's had lots of experience. The odds that an avian vet who's been around for 30 years or 20 years is going to offer you something that probably won't work are not high. It does happen sometimes. For example, there's a certain company, I'm going to avoid having them come after me here, which is a weakness on my part, but there's a certain company that got sued by the federal government, by the FDA, for selling one of their drugs for things it wasn't designed for. and get paying doctors to start using their products. This same company is now selling that same drug for birds and they're using it as in place of things that are well known to work. And this company is making a lot of money on that. I won't take it. So one of the questions is to ask your agent about how long has this been on the market? Is there something that's been on the market longer that's known to work? So these pharmaceutical companies will pimp a drug to the veterinarians and tell them, oh, this works as an anti-inflammatory. And so the avian vets, dog and cat vets too, will start selling it because they've been told it works for this, even though it wasn't designed for that purpose. So, and I've researched this particular drug even through ChatGPT. It talks about the whole lawsuit that went against this company, and when I argued, well, it's being used in the veterinary realm now. Is this possibly just an expansion of their sales, or does it actually have a valid use? And it came back saying there is no clinical evidence it works on animals. So it's just being tossed out there by this company. So go with something that's been around for a while rather than the new thing, unless you're in a situation where you have a good example was with Peaches. When she was dying, I mean, there was little chance she was going to survive. There was a small 2-3% chance. There was an anti-inflammatory that had shown some usage anecdotally. Again, anecdotally, because they haven't done clinical work with it yet. And remdesivir is what it's called. And it actually did, even though it's really expensive, by shooting it, I had to do it myself, by injecting this into her chest with a long needle, so you had to make sure you avoid all the organs. It actually helped her live another 4 months. It was well worth it to me, and she had a good quality of life, so it was worth it. But again, it had shown that it actually brought some birds out of the viral infection, and some birds survived much longer. They didn't, some of them lived a few years longer, some lived a few months, so it's worth a try. But I wasn't going to go to any magic fairy dust. I'm not going to say, oh, take this magnetic thing and pass the birds. I'm not doing that. No. So pick a veterinarian who's a professional, who's been around for some time. And you can also, you can look online and see what people have to say about it. And some people will just automatically discount what a vet says. I know one person who got upset with Dr. Jenkins because he was doing a necropsy on a bird that had died, and he was trying to see if this bird had brain cancer. So he was taking his thumb and going and literally pushing the brain through his fingers to see that. And this person had a whole fit about it. Like, how dare he do that? It's a dead bird, and he's trying to see why it died. If you don't understand that,
it's like that's how an autopsy works.
Exactly. Well, Dr. Jenkins has an open environment there. So, I mean, you get to take in and actually see what's going on. There's no behind the screen, they do things and you don't know if they did anything at all. No, you get to actually see, as long as you want to, what he's doing. And and he has a lot of experience. He's been doing this a long time. So.
Yeah, it
just
actually
back to my
sounds
ear.
macabre, but the thing is that's how life and reality is. So that's all the knowledge which has been acquired for human mediciners. So what do you imagine how this happens?
Yeah.
And it
So
actually, when you look in that history, so that is much more macabre than that. So that's just like, yeah, does it harm anybody? No, the bird is already dead, and it's done for the next bird who comes in, and one can do something about it. So that's the thing. And it's not that the person who was the owner of the bird has not been asked. So it's not like that it was done to someone's bird and he was then after that upset. No, that was a completely random person who has nothing to do with the bird or the situation.
yeah.
Now, supplements are another thing. The one I hear the most is milk thistle. Oh my, I think my, I don't know where they get the idea. My bird has, I think my bird hey, that's my face you're whacking up there, boy. Don't you laugh. That's funny, KK. They think they have a liver problem, so they give them milk thistle. Well, if it's in a capsule, you don't know what's inside the capsule because in 1933 they passed a law that basically made these things unregulated. All they have to do is put a little thing on there saying this has not been examined by the FDA. That's not the exact wording, but and it can't cure or prevent any disease. They have to put that on the label. When you see that, the how would in the old Bugs Bunny world, it would be very careful, when you're hunting rabbits. Um, so in 2015, the Attorney General of New York went after and pulled some of these items off the shelf and had them examined. Some places like CVS and all the places that sell these supplements, and they found all kinds of strange things in there. So they found actual drugs inside of some of these products so that if you're supposed to feel better, if there's a little bit of something to amp you up inside there, yeah, you feel better because it's like getting a big dose of caffeine or something. So, and if there was caffeine inside of something that was milk thistle, well, your birds are allergic. Your birds can't handle caffeine. If there's milk product in there, the birds can't handle that. So supplements are not something you want to do. And milk thistle, there has been no evidence to show that it works. So there are drugs for that. And if it's a liver issue the bird may have, it may mean that there's an infection in the liver. And if you try using milk thistle or something, you may end up actually essentially killing your bird. By trying to help it, you're just killing it because you're not actually doing anything that's proper. They need to have a liver scan. I mean, you get a CBC, but that doesn't cover the liver, so you have to have another blood test for that. And Chloe had that once when she was dumping a whole bunch of when she was pooping. It was twice as much volume of urine than there should have been. The uric acid and the fecal matter were at the same level, but so I took her right in, and it turned out she had an infection in her liver, and that was another time I had to shoot a bird with not quite so deeply, but I had to give her 7 shots of a antibiotic because it was a nasty little organism in her liver. So, and oral wouldn't have worked. So I had to do the shots myself. I got the first one done. After that, it was me. So you can look up the New York General Attorney's Office in 2015 and look at their study on supplements and see the problems they had there. Yeah, we all want. I see you, you big silly. I want to turn this way now. We all want what's best for our parrots, and when you're scared or when you're worried, you'll sometimes jump to conclusions because you're trying to help. But I've done it. I've jumped to conclusions, and you end up regretting it. So, when in doubt, go to the avian vet. Anyway, if there's any doubt. because it can happen in a matter of 24 hours, 48 hours. It can be all over. So, and the more you know, the less chance there is of that. But that doesn't necessarily mean that you're going to be able to solve every problem. Right? See, so you just have to do that to me. This is parrot hypnosis here.
Mm-hmm.
Now, if I could just get him to tell me that, I will just be happy all the time and not worried about anything. It'd be just like the movie Office Space, right?
That would
Except
be nice,
he
wouldn't
won't.
it?
No, as long as he doesn't pass away like the somewhat overweight doctor did in the movie. But he's beating up on me because I separated him from Laura a little while ago. Because he was getting a little too energetic, weren't you? So if there's any questions, anybody knows the snake oil salesman?
Not so far, I think. Let's see. Nope. Yeah, if anybody has questions on the topic or any other on its own bird, feel free to ask. Otherwise, Cecil is going to hypnotize you. Well, he's going to anyway.
Mhm.
And
Please,
Dawn
I'll
as well.
not. You not. Anybody waking up out here? Oh, Snowball's got his eye open anyway.
Mm.
Sugar's looking at me like, you know, quit talking and put the phone down so you can pet my beak. What you doing over there, KK?
Mm.
He's a cutie.
Okay, Kay, do you want to have some chatter moments for the audience? Not today. He looks like he's more in the building side. Building
I
nest.
took away the other blanket he's been hiding under, so because I wanted him to be out more. He started to hide under that blanket and nesting behavior, but so he's still doing it. He's just out in the open now. Where's that? Such a good bird. Such a good bird.
We have a question by E. Schwartz. I read it. Are hard plastic toys that will have lots of chewing not really harmful? No intestinal blockage of any or of tiny pieces or PFCS?
Could you say that again? I didn't quite get all of it.
It's about hard plastic toy that will have lots of chewing. Are they not really harmful? So no intestine blockage of tiny pieces, or I don't know if this is abbreviation PFCS or if that is that one chemical which can be harmful to people.
Yeah, the odds on them swallowing something are not that great. It does happen sometimes. Hey, that's my head. There is just as much danger with a piece of wood, sharp piece of wood, getting inside their intestines would puncture their intestines or their stomach lining as a piece of plastic. So, and they chew wood all the time. And none of the wood that you have is going to be perfect. There's always going to be some kind of chemical on it. And if there wasn't, then you'd probably have bacteria and fungus, that kind of thing on the wood. So there's nothing perfectly safe. I can say that the softer plastics that are harder to break up are probably better. It depends on the bird. Yeah, what Cecil has right there. These are all this ring is a softer plastic, and the bead is a harder plastic. So
Yeah, PFC was meant to be a kind of special type of plastic. We say PFAS to it in Germany. It's some kind of perfluor connection. I don't know. Don't find anything. I have it
The one
here
that's the one
in
that's
German.
most likely, which we know has issues, is the same one we use for water pipe. Polyvinyl chloride, PVC. The other one that's commonly used in toys is acrylonitrile butadiene cyanide, ABS. Both of those have carcinogenic properties. The PVC is a harder plastic. The ABS has a softer outside to it, harder to break. That's my ear. No, come on, get off my shoulder. He's whacking me in the ear now. Come on, get down, Cecil. Come on, come on. Now you can keep. He won't take his toy back away. But if I do this, he might. Whoops. There's issues with plastics because they're all derived from petroleum products. So, but
So
you have the
as
same issue with
this
air. We
special
have
one E. Schwartz talked about is some pre-step before producing Teflon, so I'm not sure if that's safe.
PTFE.
PFC.
Perfluorinated
Yeah.
carbon, I think. Or
Teflon is PTFE, and that is perfluorinated compound.
perfluorinated compounds. I mean, if it's
Yeah,
just
I mean,
hard plastic, then I mean, they're supposed to be chemically stable, so I don't think.
Yeah, that's the thing. When it's not heated or something, they are not completely sure about it. I think, I don't know, probably if your parrot swallows something of that, it will not drop that immediately, but I don't think it's good. So
I mean, if they
no, the main
swallow
problem.
tiny pieces, then they might come out the other end. But I don't think the
yep.
plastic itself is gonna harm them.
No, it's even true of lead and that kind of thing. Dr. Young has said they've done tests at the Crest in what we call it Safari Park now. This would be the Wild Animal Park. That the only time they've seen any real problems with metal is when they swallow a large piece of it and it gets stuck inside their gut, and then they start digesting it. But as for small amounts, it doesn't seem to have much of an effect.
Okay,
Pippa would probably say,
George clarified he meant if you are buying or making toys, precaution to you look for in materials. Yeah. So I think that question was in general what to look for when you buy materials
Yeah,
for
it's the wood
that's-
more than the plastic.
yeah, probably the number one that would be a problem if they adjusted it would be PVC, but as there's a lot of we use it to water. Some houses actually have PVC, like hot water's piped in with CPVC. Cold water's piped in with PVC. That's actually getting into it. But you know, the other side of it is that we have microplastics because of all this plastic waste we have in the air. You're actually breathing microplastics. Who knows what that's doing to your parrot, but there's not much you can do except run filtration like we do here. But yeah, they've found evidence of microplastics at the top of Mount Everest. So it's everywhere.
And
it's in the snow. It's in the air. It's in the ground.
It's in the Mariana Trench.
Yeah.
It's in outer
Actually,
space.
the Mariana Trench has has great utility if we could just take all these politicians and send them there. You know, that would be we might be able to fix a lot of these problems, but it wasn't that some submarine went there with a bunch of rich people and they all died.
I don't
Submarine
think they went to
imploded.
the Mariana Trench. They went to the Titanic.
Oh, that's right. It was to the Titanic. Yeah,
Yeah, but
they had.
they built the submarine out of carbon fiber and had it controlled by a Game Boy controller, basically, or a Nintendo, or I don't know, Xbox, or whatever the hell those things are. But it was
Makes you
just like
wonder. Makes
a really terrible
makes you wonder.
homemade submarine.
Makes you wonder why we trust these rich people to run these businesses too, right? Like nobody thinks you should have a co-op to run a business because these rich people are better at running it. No, they're not. We'd be just as good, right? Cecil would be better at it. He would be the best. Wouldn't you, Cecil? I've seen quite a few products that are aimed at parrots that they absolutely have no utility at all. The most common one is the one that you spray your bird and they stop plucking. For a while, they were selling something to bitter apple, and you're supposed to spray that on their feathers, and then they wouldn't pluck. Well, that came off the market. So I'm wondering what they found out about spraying this rather caustic, stinky stuff has a bad taste on your bird did. But it's a lot slower with these guys. If they put something on the market that doesn't work, they can stay there for a long time because how many people are going to sue these companies for selling a product that doesn't work? It's like that one company that's pimping that one drug. I wouldn't use it. No way. I
There's
know about
always
the
another
lawsuit.
sucker.
Yeah, there is. Yeah, that was the head of Ringling Brothers and Brian Bailey said that there's a new sucker born every day. And when you're scared, like if you're and you're trying to solve a problem, you reach for whatever's there. You start grasping at straws. It reminds me of when I was in the Navy. I can't swim, so they were first day they made us dive off a 30-meter board into this pool, and I went every which way, and I can't even tread water. So they handed me the pole so I could climb out, and they let go of the pole. When I came out, I threatened to kill the guy who dropped the pole. I mean, I was nearly drowned. I thought I was drowning. So, and that's what happens when you can't swim. Once you get underwater, you just panic. So they were threatening to, lied at me to me and threatened me and put me in the army. We'll put you in the army if you don't shut up and get back. But then they put me in a 6-day training to teach me to swim, and at the end they marked me as they put me down as what's the word for that?
Negative buoyancy.
Yeah, that's it. They put me down as negative buoyancy because I the only way I could stay in the Navy is if I could swim across an Olympic pool. I had good lung capacity in those days. That was before being around cockatoos, and I swam across an Olympic pool underwater.
Mhm.
I did
I wonder
a
how much
perfect.
salt one needs to include, or how much salt concentration it needs to keep you up.
I could
Yeah.
probably go to Utah and do the Salt Lake, no problem. I could probably do the Salt Lake. That's not
Yes, I
that's not
tried
terribly.
Salt Lake in a certain area, which number lies between 50 and 52.
I just try to stay on land. That's my solution. But
It's completely dried out, so I think you can swim on that, just lying on the belly.
Yeah.
Try swimming.
yeah, they would have thrown me out of the Navy if I couldn't swim across that pool, and I did it. When I got to the other end, boy, I, I touched the other end. I jumped up out of the water because it was only like 3 feet there, and I jumped up, and company commander's like, "Well, all right, but I'm going to put you down for no duty on a ship." And of course, the first place I went was to a ship, but
So we have also a question by Lisa Banerjee, but I don't get the question. Oh, she just wrote, yes, yeah. She's asking about if baby toys are parrot safe because they are not allowed to have toxins in the plastic.
For the most part, yes. But remember, Peaches could have these toys where she could play with them that were electronic. A baby won't be able to tear a toy up like that, like Peaches' little, her puppy pianos.
Yeah.
But you have to make sure the bird isn't going to tear it up and get to the batteries or get to any of the electronics, because we know these IC boards have got some nasty chemicals in there. So, but Peaches wasn't going to do that, and the other one who can handle that is Lucy. She's okay with toys like that. She doesn't tear them up. But so toys that aren't electronic, yeah. But if most birds have, their beaks are stronger than the bite of a pit bull, so they can rip things apart. So you have to be
But
careful
I
there.
think the question was also related to plastic, if they use better plastic. So I think in Germany the answer is probably yes, since there the rules are pretty rigid when it comes to everything about little children. I think everybody under 3 years or so gets pretty high standards. But
Yeah,
in the US,
relatively
I
safe
cannot
here.
tell if that depends on the states or something.
Yeah, in the U.S. that's pretty much true too. Not so much with parrot toys. I always get a kick out of it when somebody says, "Well, I buy my toys from X and X company because I want to make sure the wood is safe." Yeah, okay. Well, you know what? There isn't any wood that hasn't been treated and even untreated wouldn't be safe. So, doesn't make a difference. I would say if you're going to buy wood or you're going to buy toys, don't buy it from a sanctuary. That's why we don't make toys and try to sell them here, because we have birds, and when you have birds, there may be disease that's being passed around on that dust. And believe me, there's a lot of dust. So, KK. Well, I want to remind everybody we do have merchandise, and you can get there from our link tree. We also have our website, kobesanctuary.org, where you can donate, and there's other places where you can donate. And yeah, thank you, Amy and Eleanor, for being moderators today.
And thank you for the stream.
Hang on just for a minute. We got a steak barrel salesman coming on. No, I'm just kidding. I brought this here, and you believe me, it works. It's a miracle. It's a miracle. It's only $5, and it'll grow hair on your toes. Thanks everybody for being here, and we will see you on Wednesday. I hope.
Hope to see you.